Hello.
Hi.
What are you what's in your mind in the top of the attention for what Aaron has been commonly trying to remind us?
Well, we use Discord now because it's modern. Do you remember email and faxes and telex? Um, and Skyline Chili, hard water, and how many MSPs do not ask questions and then succeed? I will call on Alden. How many?
Thank you for calling on me, Jim Barry. We're gonna go with is it like 5? Take away the 5 divided by 0. I'm gonna say none.
Very
I
good.
don't think any MSPs have succeeded without asking questions.
Oh,
Thanks, sir.
thanks, guys. Yeah, so with that note, I think that there are a few other points, but they're probably wrapped up in some of George's community stuff. So I will actually pass that over to you, George.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another open mic. Couple of quick fire updates from me. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, we talked about this last week with our official announcement of the CIPP integration, but there is now a dedicated channel in Discord. So if you're a CIPP user or you're keen to learn more, we have a dedicated space for you to go chat. And there, at the minute, is a poll that we'd love you guys to vote on. We are interested in seeing which crate we should prioritize for building. So if you have some opinions or strong thoughts about what we should be focusing on as we begin to roll this out, please let us know and vote on that poll. In other news, as I mentioned every week, if you haven't already registered for Flow, it's still early bird pricing, so save yourself some money and get more bonuses for more team members that sign up. And our call for speakers is still open. It's open until the end of this month. We have updated the form because we're looking for a variety of speakers. We're looking for what, why, and how. So we had some great speakers last year. A lot of you guys are on the call. Feel free to add another submission. But one of the things we're actually trying to get more of is people that are on this call. You guys, the technical folks that are in the weeds of the Rewst and automation all the time. We had a lot of great talks last year at the business level, how you start with automation, how you get ROI, hiring, firing, that kind of thing. But a lot of folks are brand new to Rewst and just want some one-on-one help. How do I get started? What do I build? What crates should I unpack? So if you're someone who's on this call a lot, yeah, feel free to submit an application. If you're like, oh, I don't really know about public speaking or presenting, ding, 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 that's what I'm here to help with. So I don't know if he's on the call, but I was chatting with Gareth Smith over in the UK. We were having this exact conversation. I said, I'll help you with your slides. I'll help you with your talk track. You've just got a great story to tell and great advice to share. So if that's you, ping me on Discord and I'm more than happy to jump on a call and help you get set up. Last thing from me, our final webinar of the year. We are bringing in Aaron himself, so there will be no fake Aarons. We have Aaron and then Mark from Thread in 2 weeks' time on December 16th, coming to chat all things AI and automation. As we've spoken about a lot on here this year, a lot of confusion in the market, even with some MSPs around the differences between automation and AI. And we hear and know that it's even more of a struggle for you guys and your non-technical clients. So please get registered for that. I'll drop a few links in the chat momentarily for you guys to get signed up, and I'm sure there will be a Aaron rant or two on that call as well. So join for that, if nothing else. And that's it from me this week. I'm excited for some of the demos that we've got on the call today.
Me too. Before we jump on, can you tell us, say out loud your Discord name?
My Discord name?
Mm-hmm.
My Discord name is Maple High Now Brian Cow.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so now we are going to jump over to our product update, and we've got Daniel with the Canadian A.
Hello, everybody.
There you are.
All right.
Hello.
Sorry for the delay there. We have some exciting features to talk about that we have implemented, as well as some stuff that's upcoming. So we made some more minor fixes this week. We improved the dark mode theming. So what you may have noticed within RoboRewsty when you opened up the chat, if the way that I was able to reproduce this was if you had your browser theme different from your device theme. So for example, your device theme was dark. So like my Mac that I'm on was dark and the browser settings were light, or vice versa. There was some issues with the color that the text displayed. So we made a fix for that one. We've also implemented some improvements to just how we use AI. So some context improvements. We've added clear error messaging to Google Workspace, and we have gone through and fixed a whole bunch of bugs that you all found and communicated with us, and hopefully we are tackling those in a meaningful way for everybody. So we have a list of bug fixes as we do most weeks, or pretty much every week. A couple things that are coming soon. We have some updates to RoboRewsty results analysis. We have the ConnectWise Azio integration that is coming up very shortly. So stay tuned. Come talk to us next week about it on the open mic. And then we have some other fun stuff that I'm not going to spoil, because spoilers are for CEOs and people who are not fun. So that's all I have for this week.
I think your math is a bit flawed there. Spoilers are for people who are fun. All right, so let's jump now to our marketplace update. And we've got Jesse. We're just going down the list of Canadians here. Go.
Yep. Hello, everybody. Let me get my screen shared. Do I have the right screen? Let's see here. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get my Rewst docs pulled up here. Marketplace stuff. So no new crates and enhancements this week, but I will talk about why that is in a sec here, and we'll go through some exciting stuff that we have coming up, hopefully before the end of the year. Bug fixes and chores, going through the list here. As always, we did a little bit of stuff with the Microsoft User Onboarding crate, cleaning that up a little bit for folks who had recommended some changes, one of which was adding the primary identity provider as an input parameter for sub-workflows and external value scenarios. Updated the location field to check that usage location is checked before the org is checked. Disabled custom input for user location. I think somebody was having an issue with a form where people were typing stuff in, so we just locked that down. Running PowerShell script on selected devices, we updated check device returned condition to evaluate to using greater than or equal to 1. I think there was some duplicate device issues there. If more than one device came back, then we had some matching issues, so we fixed that up. Agent Smith device provisioning, install first. I think we got the full name on there, luckily. Added some retry logic to requery devices when initial queries fail. Configure org variable form. Using the installed PSA when there's no default PSA or org variable present. For those of you who have gone through onboarding, there is sometimes a bit of a chicken and egg situation where you need a crate to set up Rewst, and then you need to, you want to use your crates, but you need to set up Rewst with a crate, and you kind of get confused. So we're trying to make that easier wherever we can. So this is basically saying if you already have a PSA installed, we will just assume that if you don't have the default PSA org variable, that the PSA you have installed is the one you want to use. So people who are either adjusting their org variables or going through onboarding right now and want to get their org variables set up, that just makes it a little bit easier for you guys. Going through the AI ticket categorization stuff, added GPT-5 as a existing model there. I think we had pretty much all of them, but then needed to add 5 as well. Added support for OpenAI GPT-5 in the crate configuration, and for the new Anthropic Claude models as well, because we've now added Anthropic to that as well. And then last one here, document Rewst form URLs. We updated the example org_var value to include quotes around the string values in the list. So kind of specific, but that was a request that we got as well. Talking about coming soon, stuff that we've got on the list. So you might have noticed that I think last week we said we were going to release some DropSuite stuff, and then unfortunately we didn't. We had a bit of an issue where we found some stuff with triggers that were, when we cloned stuff out to people for new crates, we had some issues with triggers. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't disrupt existing stuff that people had, didn't disrupt people by releasing new stuff. So we kind of put a pause this last week on releasing things, and we now have the go ahead from the dev team to release stuff as of yesterday. So look out for a lot of this stuff. You should be seeing a lot of this stuff coming out over the next couple weeks. I know that per machine password rotation and the duo identity verification are in the marketplace right now, set to private, so they are there, and those will be released over the coming weeks for a broader privileged access management push that we're doing. And then we've got enhanced login for the user onboarding workflow stuff. We are waiting to release that. We should be able to release that over the next week or two, and then we'll get all the DropSuite stuff in there as well. We're making some improvements to the GDAP crate. So again, people in onboarding, you can leverage that if you're struggling with setting up GDAP. And then the last one there, kind of in the middle, is traveling employee CA policy form.
So we get somewhere around 2,500.
A lot of people were asking for that. I think that's one of the higher requested things in Canny. So we'll be building that out before the end of the year as well. That's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jesse. All right, so now we are going to jump over to Clea for our education update. Hello, Clea.
Hello, hello. How is everyone doing on this Friday? Also, please note, this is a shirt with cats in space riding on donuts. And that level of excitement is my level of excitement for sharing CLEQ updates, as always. Whoops, wrong page. So I have been in Discord trying to help someone find their channel. Let me backtrack to where I meant to be. And Teams is in the way, and I can't figure out how to navigate. Okay, here we are. We are somewhere in this world. December 5th is where we are, 2025. I'm going to start with shout outs. Recently certified folks include Mark, Douglas, Fengxian, and Armita for Rewst Foundations. For clean automation, we have Armita and Fengxian. So awesome job getting doubly certified. Make sure to check out your new fancy certified badge in Discord and the not so secret channel Bird Brains that you now have access to. Everyone who graduates Rewst Foundations gets access to that channel. Sometimes I share special secret new training there. Join us, please. In terms of documentation updates, I'm not going to read this because we have documentation on it, but skim the list and I bet that there is something that will pique your attention. For example, I'm going to go ahead and check out the documentation on RoboRewsty because I have been trying to improve my usage of RoboRewsty. And if you too are like me and you're like, I keep asking it to do stuff for me and it's not giving me good results, don't worry, we have a course on that. It is probably coming out next week, all about prompting best practices for chatting with your robotic chicken friend in the app. What I wanted to mostly focus on today is, and let's see, did I drop that link in the chat? Yes, I did. I'm going to drop this second one here. Doobie-doobie-doo. So special event next week on Tuesday, the 9th, we have just-in-time admin access live training with a demo, with handouts on how to make the most out of that crate. And I would love to know who here, show of hands, or let me know in the chat, has used the just-in-time admin access crate. Or maybe you've heard of it. Awesome. I see at least a few hands up. Not sure about Google Workspace. I'll let a technical expert chime in. Just in who? Exactly, just in time. So if your current process for elevated admin access, like say customer needs something, you need special permissions. If you are currently like creating admin accounts or maybe sharing passwords for an admin account, which is not a best practice, this crate is going to solve all those problems. More on that next week. Go ahead and sign up for the course. You can see that I've done that already because I see resume instead of register. Even if you can't make it, sign up anyway. We are going to be adding a recording to the course, but for now you can access some resources. You can access this amazing checklist that we added this morning. I could open it, but I need some lunch, and trying to switch screen shares is not going to go well today. It's in the course. Go sign up for it. And I think we have like over 150 people signed up next week. So it is at 10 a.m. my time. That should be 12 p.m. Eastern time. Sign up and join us, and let us know if you have any questions about that session. Thank you.
All
Back
right,
to you,
thank you,
after
Clea.
George.
All right, those are our updates today. So now we have a demo. Jamie, are you on?
I see her.
Oh,
in
she
the
said
queue.
wait.
Oh.
So yeah, I'll just while she said wait. So just last week we had oh, you're here. Okay, sorry.
Hey, no, Ashley, can you skip me and go to the next one? And I will go right after. I apologize.
Sure, yeah.
Thanks.
We have Brian, who's going to be giving us a little bit of a broader demo of something that I believe maybe you could just give us the backstory, but this is something that you had before and now you've been refactoring and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So something that has been really common that we've had a question around in the CIPP team, and this, pre-existed even my time before joining CyberDrain, is are you going to integrate with X as a PSA? If you don't have CIPP and don't know, it's able to, with Halo specifically, take all of the alerts that we're able to generate and kick those over to your PSA. It does ticket creation and then ticket deduplication and all these really nice things so that you can get clean alerts within your PSA. For a whole host of reasons, we just can't integrate with everything, and that includes at my former MSP. We're a ConnectWise shop, and there's no integration, but we still wanted to be able to put those alerts in front of our technicians in a real easy way. So I had built a webhook handler, because you can send out alerts from CIPP through webhooks. So this is the just finished cleaned up version of this workflow. So I'll show off this. It's a much more streamlined version, but I'll show you the older one just so that you guys can see what it feels like to iterate, and the mess that sometimes iterations can create in a workflow that'll cause you to have to rebuild it. But it's generally pretty straightforward. It's a webhook trigger that comes in. For some specific reasons, we've got a need to do some additional filtering beyond the capability that is just at the tenant level. There are some specific accounts that we don't want to filter on. So that's part of what some of this mess of Jinja is doing, is it actually filters out specific accounts that we don't want alerted on. It also uses like an org variable for some tenant level things that, based on some 2-3-year-old decisions, were left in place instead of just completely re-architecting everything. So this does something really simple. It brings in the alert. It parses out the tenant ID, which is the primary domain for the CIPP tenant, using just some simple little regex, depending on which one of the two types of alerts is coming across, whether it's one of the scripted alerts or one of the audit log alerts that comes through CIPP. They've got slightly different format because of the different payload that has to come from it. With Carpel, the MSP, I have to add this next little weird iteration. They actually have two different marketing names that they go by, and within ConnectWise, that means they've got two different need to bill out of those names. So it means every board is duplicated. So your help desk board, there's a regular help desk board, and then there's a second DBA help desk board, and it's the same way for like literally everything. So this function down here takes that and splits it to help identify later which board all these tickets end up on, because they'll have to vary based on whether it's going to, say, the security board or a proactive maintenance board, or however it is that we've decided that some of those alerts come in. Once I have that, it actually then just throws all that. I kind of parse everything out using some Jinja to determine, you know, okay, if it's the CIPP alert admin password. So this is an alert that comes out of CIPP that will notify you if an admin account has had their password changed. Kind of an important alert to notify you, just in case this could be, you know, usually when you see an account compromised for an admin account, one of the first things the bad actor is going to do is change the password to try to lock the legitimate user out so that they can foothold themselves a little bit longer necessarily. So being aware of that and being able to validate that that was a legitimate change, that's one of those. App secret expiry, there's all of them, but it just kind of parses all of this out. And I set the board ID, the ticket summary, and then a template that I have for each of these notes to just be able to create the standard summary. So once it's completed out there, I've got a function workflow that checks ConnectWise to see if a ticket is already open for that issue. If it's not, it's going to create that ticket using those variables from above. If it already exists, it's just going to place a note onto that ticket stating, hey, this is still an alert. There's still an issue going on here. Please get this resolved. Some future growth for this and some things that we're discussing as a consultant for them is, do any of these alerts have additional information that needs to be gathered? So this might turn into a little more complex workflow that branches out into, you know, whether they want to, you know, pull in for it. Say that the example is that password changed. Do you want to go ahead and automate some of that investigation? I can send back now with the CIPP integration, send over a real quick command and have it do the BEC report, which will kind of send back a whole bunch of indicators of account compromise really easily, and have that nice and easily and readable right there also within the ticket, just kind of speeding up some of the handling on that process. Those types of things are what are being thought of and bounced around, and it's ultimately going to be up to the security team as to what they want their handling of it, as to how far we go with the automation. But this then allowed me, even before, like, this pre-existed me getting hired by CyberDrain, even pre-existed the first time I pushed a docs update. This was a workflow I had built because we wanted to use it. So this is V2, I called it, because it was really only the version 2 complete rewrite of it. But this allowed us to have ConnectWise alerts built into CIPP without requiring the integration that I know others have asked for. So what does this look like? Version 1. This is where you're going to go back to, I don't know, 2.5 years ago me. This is some pre clean automation days, quite a bit less experienced, but wanted to show, this is what a workflow built that just kind of had stuff tacked on as I went and wasn't as clearly thought through and neat and organized. Instead of using Jinja to just kind of set the values, I used to just like branch. Okay, was it a subscribed alert? So was this an audit log alert, or was it one of the CIPP function alerts? And if it was a subscribed alert, I kicked the entire JSON over to this other sub workflow. It opens in the background. I'll show you this other one. So I would do some of the same, like matching org ID and split the sub marketing org out. But then I had this gigantic long, like, it started to just grow of, here are the different alert types that we were taking in, and it each had its own, transition, and I would statically define what those things were under this. And you can see this started to become a little onerous to maintain, and was probably a reason why that team has not adopted some of those additional alerts, because they were looking at this going, well, this just feels weird to add on to. If you've ever seen some of the original like onboarding workflows where you have like a mile wide task transitions, this gets a little bit weird. And it did this same thing here, and would open up like this same action. This got added. This ended up being like, this was the second part of this workflow that got built on at some point through the development process. CIPP did a little bit of standardization of some of their output. So I had to like rebranch based on that. And this is what it used to look like. You know, there's not a single, this is definitely not a dry workflow, right? So this is I had the same kind of ever-growing task transitions, and I would, have a new task for, each ticket that I was adding. It didn't have a whole lot of thought through. There was a little bit of, okay, I was checking for if the ticket existed already, but I was doing it, each time instead of using a function workflow. And really, you can see how this thing was just kind of a spaghetti mess to maintain and build through. So when I had an opportunity earlier this week, I sat down with the automation guy from there, talked about what I was getting ready to do, and rewrote it into this much simpler and much easier to follow and maintain and add on to workflow. See if there's any questions popping up, because I did a good job of ignoring chat this time. Yeah, Logan, you definitely have an even older version than the one that I just showed. He can attest, it was a pretty gigantic mess early on, doing a lot of really bad habits in terms of how it, it turned into this just giant spaghetti mess of things going everywhere. When, while it can be a little bit hard to read before you get used to it, this cleanliness of a commented Jinja block can really kind of tell you, much easier what's going on and go through there. Yeah, useful, but I don't know.
Wow,
it was worth being able to prove it.
Like the guy that developed this must hate standardization. Wait,
just
hold on.
hates it.
That's me. So just to give everyone a heads up for if you have a workflow like this already running, number one is we are standardizing the output, and number two is as George said at the start of the open mic call, there is a CIPP channel now in Discord. In there is a thing to upvote what we will build. This, but universalized for every PSA, is something that is on the list for crates. So just so everyone's aware of that.
Yep. Yeah, I had half a thought to generalize it, but this is where I throw in the towel and recognize that I don't know enough about most of the other PSAs, since I've only ever been a CW-PSA user, so I left it really specific for them. But this is honestly, I think, the same framework that ultimately is pretty close to what the crate probably is going to look like. And if you want to rob and duplicate, it's pretty easy to put forth and just kind of do the filtering how you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, thanks for all the applause. It nearly crashed my Teams.
Does anybody have any questions about this one for Brian or Kelvin, or about the concepts or the future of this at all? Wow.
Yeah, Mark, Ashley already answered your question, but absolutely, it's the clean automation training is going to be really valuable to help you go through concepts of like workflow abstraction and breaking out the reusable parts into subworkflow or function workflows that you can then place into this kind of a space, and then you're seeing that it's only calling that action when it needs to, and you don't have to like fix it in 6 different places. Because one of the things that part of how this continued to become such a hassle to maintain is that when this was originally built, the MSP didn't have two different DBAs. That new DBA was created. So I had to go in and tack in this function that parsed out which client or which DBA that client went to. But if you saw on this other one, like this is a mess. If I had a single action under each of these, I had to do identical Jinja under everything. So I had to come into, the create a ticket thing, and they all had to get this exact same if else and if block with the correct board IDs. And it was, it was so hard to maintain. And it was just by doing it this way, I can maintain it within the Jinja code instead of having to bounce between, in this case, it was 10 different actions because of how some things were duplicated between the two different alert types for a while. And it was a little bit of a hassle. Alden, I see your hand up.
Ryan, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for seeing my hand. So with your V2, or what's probably more like a V5 at this point, but with your V2, it looks like a lot of these, a lot of the flow here, a lot of the waterfall, so to speak, has been turned into sub workflows. Are there any of those that aren't like super proprietary that you can pull up and kind of show what that looks like versus the original?
I'm actually literally using the Rock built crates. So create ticket is straight up create service ticket from the Rock. Update ticket is update ticket dash actual. Surprised that one doesn't have a no really on it. But yeah, sure. Like this other function that kind of parses out what client type this is. It's really just kind of the same thing. It gets the organization, it checks a matching organization, and then it just it gets the org variable for that client type, and then it just outputs that value with a default in case somebody forgot to set whatever that should be. The other one, hang on, the Teams share button is in the way. Some of the other ones are like, this reusable workflow just checks to see if a ticket exists, and it's really just kind of a pretty straightforward. Oh, I have to finish building the retry logic in this, but it really just, pulls ConnectWise and asks, hey, get me all the tickets that match this, and then it checks to see if the summary that we would set on that ticket exists within that particular workflow. So these are also still very simple blocks. This one will get a little bit wider when I remember to go back, and ConnectWise likes to just randomly fail, so you kind of loop through a handful of retries before quitting out, and it usually fixes a lot of those. So I need to finish going back and in and adding that. But none of these are overly complex other than once you get into the branching that Rewst has, just because of all the different possible integrations that you create a ticket within.
Thank you for showing that. It's nice to kind of see the places that you can pull things together.
Yeah, and that's that's a huge benefit to lean on. Like I don't have to recreate the wheel with the
Thanks for calling
service
GoTo.
ticket.
We make IT easy anywhere.
Who's calling GoTo?
How can we help? You can say things like,
there we go. For like create service ticket or update service ticket, there's a slight efficiency loss in terms of it might take 2 extra actions for it to actually create the ticket because of the way that it has to parse through, is it the right, which PSA does it go to? But realistically, building it that way now, who knows? Maybe the MSP someday decides that, all right, we're going to start a PSA migration. It's the really scary thing that everybody talks about wanting to do, but the logistics of it don't always make sense. And then you have to figure out how to re-automate everything that you built wrong. Well, if you build it the right way, and then all it is a transition of organization variables, that crate built sub workflow now just continues to work because it picks up where it's supposed to go based on you just flipping one setting in one place instead of updating hundreds of workflows or hundreds of actions. Yeah, and it's ConnectWise's API never returns a random 500 error, never, ever. Any other questions? All right, it's back to you, Ash.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Now we will jump over to Jamie.
Hey,
I'll
everybody.
let you introduce.
Yeah, hey, everyone. My name's Jamie. I am the VP of Brand Experience here at Rewst. And I wanted to remind everyone that sometimes a workflow doesn't have to be big, long, and complicated to be useful. We use like gobs of just really short, simple, move this here when kind of workflows in order to make our lives easier. So I'm going to show you one of those today. Now, all of the girlies, girly roosters at Rewst like to get together from time to time. We have a monthly meeting that we call the Hen House, but we're all super busy. So from time to time, we forget to put that on our calendar, or it gets deleted, or life happens. So we wanted to set up a monthly reminder right before the call that would come out, give people access to the calendar if they needed to put it back onto their schedule, and just a quick reminder in Slack about the upcoming meeting. So we threw together this really quick and simple workflow here where it primarily, we're using at this point the cron notification as our trigger. And that cron is set to go off every Wednesday, right? But we don't want this to actually happen every Wednesday. We want it to only happen on the second Wednesday of the month. So we built out this little conditional logic right here. And I recently, oops, my bad. Where's the conditional logic living? Who put that there? CTX. There it is. Sorry about, yep. All right, guys. Anyway, so if you can't tell, I'm not in this every day, right? I don't do this all the time. And I definitely didn't sit down and write all this ginger. What I did was sat down and had a conversation with my buddy Claude. And we went back and forth a couple of times, right? Until we got it doing what we wanted to do. And what it does is it checks if it is the second Wednesday or not. If it is the second Wednesday, it goes ahead and just sends a quick reminder. That's literally just that Slack message. And then if it is not, it just ends. It doesn't do anything and we go about our business. That way we're only getting that reminder when we want it. We definitely used RoboRewsty to make sure all of our documentation is included on this so that any one of us can come in and make the changes in the future. So if we ever need to edit this, like we change our meeting date, or we want it to say something else or do something else, anyone on the team can go and do that. Again, not a big, complicated, super long workflow, but I think a really nice reminder that sometimes you can just do something short and sweet and you can make your life 2% better. And anything I can add up that makes my life 2% better is worth a little bit of time in my book. Anyone have any questions? Or want to mock my use of Claude for Jinja? That's open source too.
I was just going to say the exact same thing as JB, where it's like there's a handful of tasks in this, but only one actual API action. The rest is just the ability to like put your thoughts out on paper and logically map out what you're trying to do, which is so fun.
Yeah, you can like write it other ways too. I've definitely done Slack posts that are literally just the cron trigger in the Slack post. So if you're wanting to be minimalist and just get the job done and you don't need any condition, there's no reason to have all of the extra actions in there. This one, I obviously wasn't worried about being conservative with the actions, and it worked for our purposes. So. Does Rewst Cron support the hashtag special character? I do not know. If someone else is able to answer that, that would be cool. I'm guessing that would limit me to running it on a specific day, Wednesday of the month. Just guessing. I don't know if that's what Kyle meant in the chat.
I'm not sure. I don't, I find that like sometimes I just like throw random things in there and I was like, oh, that apparently works.
All right, guys.
Thank
you for letting me show my silly little message. If anyone has any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Jamie. Does anybody else have anything that they do like this, where it's like, this isn't the big fancy use case of what brings Rewst into your company, but this is actually something that you're getting value from day to day? JB.
Yeah, I have, it's literally sheer laziness. We have like a commission that we get paid by one of our products that we sell, and they need an invoice. They cannot just pay the commission. So I am lazy. I do not want to make the ticket that puts the product for the commission on the ticket. I have it. I know what day of the month the thing comes out. The day before at like 8 p.m. So dispatch doesn't catch it like during the workday. It creates the ticket, adds the product, does like 90% of the work. I have to drag one attachment into it as like supporting documentation. I close it, and that is the end of the work, because regular billing people do the billing process. It gets invoiced, they pay us, and it's over. But I don't have to sit and create this ticket with this one product and fill in all the little type, subtype. I'm just lazy, and it is the exact opposite of dry. It is the wettest workflow ever. Every single thing is hard-coded because it will never change. I think it took me 10 minutes to make the whole thing from conception to testing and delivered.
That's awesome.
That
I think
makes me
it's
so happy.
Go ahead.
I got excited because Jim Barry, I cannot stand when I have to just do the same task again and again and again. And it's even worse when it's intermittent like that, like once a month or something like that, because the chances that I'm going to remember to do it, no, thank you. Yeah.
Mundane is boring. I would rather technologically use my brain to develop it once than to have to eat. Just the thought of having to log into PSA and make this ridiculous ticket to put a dollar amount in is too much.
Plus, people don't realize, like, they're like, oh yeah, you spent a lot of time building out this thing, but like you're only ever going to use that thing once, that, like that thing, the little comic. But what about the time that you spent discovering and learning, and now half of those things that took you a bunch of time now next time are just going to be more intuitive, right? Like there's a lot of second order effects that go on in the discovery process.
Did you see Kyle's note in the chat? They said that they did something small like this. It rolls a number between 0 to 100. And if it is 0 to 10, it tells a dad joke in the Teams chat.
That's fun. Kyle, you should show that off.
Does anyone in here use Notion? Looking to see any hands, any thumbs up?
I do.
So Notion drives me crazy because some things it does really well and other things it doesn't do really well. I recently created a workflow in Rewst that would duplicate all the tasks from a template database and put them into a project database so that all of the steps would be could be standardized. I haven't looked at it since they updated their API, so I'm not sure if it's still functional. But if anyone's interested in that, maybe I could show that in a couple weeks.
That'd be awesome. Alden agrees too. You've got
Awesome.
2 votes
Okay.
so far. So
yeah, Ashley, put me down for, I don't know, give me 2 weeks.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Jamie. So on that note, that is all of our demos. We have some time now, 12 minutes, to either have an impromptu show off. Maybe somebody else has something small that they were just inspired, like, oh yeah, I got something, let's show it off. Or questions, Pablo?
I have a question. Right at the beginning, we saw developer updates, I believe, but I don't see those published. Or maybe I'm looking somewhere else that I'm not supposed to be looking. Are those live somewhere?
The docs?
No, not the docs. The dev updates, the one we talk about which crates got updated, future steps.
Which one?
Was it during the? Was it Jamie? Sorry, not Jamie. Was it Jesse's stuff or Daniel's stuff?
I think it was George. Sorry, I don't remember the name of whoever sent it. It was like, hey, we updated these crates, and we're working on these other crates, and these are features.
Oh,
Jesse.
the poll, Pablo. Yeah, it's in the CIPP channel on Discord under Birds of a Feather.
Oh my god. Can you say that again?
It's under the CIPP channel, CIPP, under the Birds of a Feather section. So if you go in there and scroll up a little bit, you'll see a poll from earlier this week. And it's just about some of the crates that are on deck. And we just want folks to throw one vote at what they'd like to see first. Help us prioritize and get an idea for what people
No, not
want to
that
see.
one, because it's not about the CIPP. Once just like, hey, just general crates updates, like where you updated things in the onboarding crate. And then
Oh,
like, hey,
I see. You
on
mean the actual create update. So we have a different section Discord called Create Marketplace, and there's 2 channels in there called Create Announcements and Creates are Us. So Create Announcements.
George, I think he's looking for the actual docs pages. Check the chat, Pablo. There's some links that people have thrown in that'll send you right to the pages that they were showing off.
So many people have posted it.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm in that page, but never mind. Oh, yeah, okay. There we go. There you go. Thank you. Oh,
you're welcome. Awesome. So yeah. Oh, and it'll reconcile it, but I'm not sure if it always works. That's something we should probably verify that. Anybody else?
There's Ray. Ray from the future.
Yeah, Ray, let's go. You're up. Let's do it.
Okay. I showed this off yesterday on the Aussie Open Mic, but I thought it might be worthwhile in showing it here really quick because what Danial D found is really, really cool. So let's just very quickly do this. Okay. So can everyone see my screen? And yes, Daniel, I still can't say your last name. But anyway, in Rewst, as most of you should know by now, we support custom integrations. One of the annoying things with custom integrations is when you install it, if they do not support pagination, or if you don't have an array of your clients and all your other details, you can't map them. What Danial D found out a while ago is, well, what if you just used Rewst as your pagination endpoint? So you can get a Rewst URL, you can get a post, you can create a webhook trigger. Here I'm just putting fake data, which has a fake company ID, company name, other things. All this literally does is it creates a Rewst org var with ID and name in an options key, right? But because I've now got this in an options key, I can then go to an org var, a custom integration v2, go through setting it up, go to the edit actions, create a new action called organization mapping. And now I can use the Rewst URL I just created, right? So now the important thing is I need a key. So I've created a schema where it's got an object, it's called options, it's an array, I've got an ID and name. And basically that is literally just what I've got here. I've got a array, an object with an array with ID and name. So I'm now using Rewst to be my endpoint for pagination, making sure that I've enabled pagination up here. So it's a paginated endpoint. I'm looking at the results in pagination, but then it means I can come here and go, great, hit the plus. Here's my paginated endpoint with my name and ID set. I can save that. And now I can go through and I can use Rewst to map all my orgs to what the org IDs actually would be without needing to do anything else. It's just now all in the custom integration v2, which then becomes cool because in my org mappings, you will now see that it's all just fully paginate, fully variabled out. So I can now use these org variables in anything that I need to with an integration. I only need to set it up once as normal, and then you can just use one workflow with the I was so much better prepared last night when I was awake more, but I can do the org, the variable.fake org mappings. And now wherever I'm, if I've got a workflow string or an API call I need to get, I can now use this to pull the client ID for the client that I'm now running in, and it will just work across the board. So the other cool thing that we found out from this is you can then come in and let's say you've got Microsoft Defender for endpoint, right? Microsoft Defender will need an auth ID and a client secret. So you can't do a multi-client integration. But what you can do is you can do the same thing where you come through, you basically you get up to the create a new pagination endpoint. And in here, I've made one called org mapping with a fake GET request, made sure it's paginated, made a fake schema of another root with an object, orgs, which is an array, which matches up with this, and just a single item in here of ID. That allows me to hit the plus to make this paginated. And then what you can do is you can start creating a different configuration for each of the organizations that you have in your org, and you can map them. So I can come through and just type something in down the bottom, hit save mapping. If I go back to my default, I've now got 3 different mappings of the same Windows Defender integrations with separate client IDs and secrets, which I can then use in any single master workflow and cover in my Rewst automations, which all you need to do at this point is come here, choose an action, and I can up the top here create a new trigger and then drag in Microsoft Defender for endpoint and go use org mapping. And now I'm doing the exact same thing where you create one workflow at your MSP level. If you run these actions or the sub workflow as an organization, it will choose the right integration for you. You are not setting up the same integration 10, 20, 30 times for each of your clients. You're just using a different organizational mapping. So very quick, very simple in some respects, but it's going to save you guys hours and hours and hours of time with all the different ways that this is set up. I'm going to have this all documented in the docs page within the next couple of weeks, so you won't have to come back and look at the recording. Now, I went through this really quick. Does anyone have any questions or anything else around what I have done?
So Ray, having watched you show off this brilliance last night and then stumbling through my own inadequacies to try to do it this morning. The one thing I do just want to ask you to show, because I think it's important to see the structure of it right to be able to create your org variable. Can you go back to your workflow that creates the org variable and show the Jinja for the creation of the options, just so that people can see exactly what that looks like?
Yep, it's going to be right here. So, fake API response could be anything. It's just going to bring it back. But when you're making the org variable, firstly, you want to have it have a key and the data that you brought back. So let me do it this way. I'm just going to hit test here, and then I'll come back to this one. So we've all seen API responses, don't really need to get into that, but I am then having that API response just funnel into a thing called customer details. Not really important, just customer ID, customer name, customer details. We go back up in the options mapping. So I want to add our key, the customer details that I've just exported. So then all we are getting is this. Options is an array with individual objects, ID and name. And then the last bit that, thanks for bringing me back here, when you save it into the into your organization variable, you want to make sure it is JSON stringified. So whatever you've done, ensure it's JSON stringified, or it won't work in the custom integration v2. The other important bit that Brian has brought up for me, when you make your workflow, so what I'm doing, I'm just going to go and get the fake orgs that I have just written to here, this org variable that I'm updating. You want to just make sure you've got wait for results as false. And then basically every time the webhook triggers, it's just going to bring back that my org variable data, and then Rewst is just going to use that instantly. And that's why it's so quick. The nice thing about doing it with a webhook trigger, I can add a secret key, which I actually didn't show that either. Just in case, Brian, you missed this yesterday. So when you go through, you can in headers add x-secret, Rewst-secret as an object, and then push through the secret key as well. So this way, when you are creating your list of clients and everything else, you are keeping it all secret. No one else can get to this endpoint and just get your list of customers and IDs as well. Did that cover what you were after, Brian? Is there anything else specifically that you
Nope, that's it.
To just go over? Brilliant.
Nope, just wanted to make sure people had an opportunity to see how that org variable gets structured, because that's really important to make sure it returns on the option.
So many celebrations today. Thank you so much, Ray. That is pretty cool.
Ray. Oh, dang, you just stopped sharing because I had one really important question. Do you have access to the new canvas?
I don't know.
That's not what I was talking about, Kelvin. But nice try. Nice try.
Oh.
All right, guys.
A button
it's
on my
now
screen that say probably not.
4:01. So it's time for us to